Welcome back to Our Community. Susie Thomas with Pastor Sharon Carnes from Trinity Gospel Temple. We were talking about food and this wonderful trip you're taking to the Holy Land, November 6th through 17th. Don't let those dates fool you. Your reservations need to be made by August 1st, and there are only 8 spots left. So that's why she is here today, so that you don't miss out on this amazing trip. Let's go back to the food. You weren't done telling us more about what we get to eat on this trip.
That's right. In addition to the breakfast and lunch, which were both full buffets, we have 2 special lunches that are also included in the tour price. One of them is a St. Peter's fish lunch that we will eat right after taking our boat ride on the Sea of Galilee.
You don't have to swim back to shore, though, like he did, right?
No.
Good.
No,
okay.
No.
All right.
So that's kind of interesting because it's the full fish. That is always a great experience.
Oh, wow.
But I so look forward to, we go into the Arava Desert, and we are going to have an traditional Bedouin lunch. And we will actually have the lunch in a Bedouin tent, sitting as the Bedouin do to eat. And the food is unbelievable. They bring out a tray of food, and it's family style, and no sooner have you put it on your plate till they will bring you another tray the same size as they just brought out. There are all the homemade Bedouin pastries. There's the pita bread that is actually cooked on a hot stone. And then to end the meal with the desserts, they will grind coffee by hand. And the unique thing about that is there's a special sound. It almost sounds like music when they are grinding the coffee, and that sound goes across the desert. That's to let their neighbors know that they have company and they're welcome to come and visit at the same time.
What a neat tradition. Oh, my. Right. Okay. So more on food or?
Well, it just reminds us, as we sit in the Bedouin tent, we can go back to the time of Abraham and Sarah and imagine what it was like for them. That's how they lived.
Yeah. There's something about breaking bread together, isn't there?
Yes, there is. And relationships are forged, and we see Bedouin hospitality. I remember I was with one of the ladies who went with me in the 1997 trip. And we were waiting because we were to get our horses to ride up out of the valley. And a Bedouin man, people were trying to get us to buy things, and they were putting things on us. And a Bedouin man just came out and said, "Come." And he took us into his tent and said, "I will take care of you till your horses come." And it was
wow.
It's just such a beautiful way of picturing what the life is that we read about in the Bible.
Mm-hmm. Another big part that we think of is the liveliness of the marketplace. Can you talk about that? I'm sure there's shopping involved in this trip.
Oh, yes. If there was not shopping, and there are some women I know that wouldn't go. and some men. We went to the Bedouin market at Beersheba, and actually some of the men on the trip, they went to the typical places, the tools, and they found some ancient tools that they were able to buy as souvenirs, and they were able to bring those out. Also, there's shopping in the shopping malls. Eilat, Jerusalem shopping mall is beautiful. I bought a pair of shoes in 1999 at Yehud, Israel, their shopping mall, that I'm still wearing.
Wow.
And it's amazing. But then there's also the traditional shopping that you do in the small shops on Ben Yehuda Street in Jerusalem, where you actually bargain the price.
Oh, that sounds
they
fun.
are offended if you don't bargain with them.
That would be my kind of shopping. That sounds like a blast to go through. And is it like an outdoor kind of?
Yes. And it's outdoor, plus they have indoor shops, and you can hear the bargaining going on. We also go to the Mahana Yehuda market that everybody hears about. That everything is there. I mean, anything you can imagine. Food. Usually, I get several bottles of olive oil there and bring back.
Well, that just sounds like fun for sport. just to be able to do that bartering back and forth. How fun. You also have a favorite tour guide that you manage to get every time. Talk about her.
Yes, our tour guide is Nomi, and Nomi Hazi has become actually a close personal friend since the very first time we used her. She has the highest security clearance available for an Israeli tour guide, so that's why we are able to go into some of the places that ordinarily we would not be able to get into. I was able to do a Sunday morning service on the Mount of Beatitudes, also a Sunday afternoon at Emmaus. But she just has fallen in love with our group, any group we take there. And so this trip, she is actually going to have our group in her home for an evening.
Wow.
And she, in fact, when my mother passed away in 2001, I received a message from her that she said, I'm coming. And she did. She came.
My.
And and we just met in Israel one time when she led our group. And we've been connected ever since. And she has personal relationships with so many of the people who have traveled numerous times. And I always have returnees.
What's special about her? I know she's an archaeologist. That's got to be extra good.
Oh, yes. And she has trained some of our people. And it's kind of neat when you go back and you see a returnee and she'll ask a question like, how can we tell what is original and what isn't? And our people will remember. They said, we remember what you told us. And she will tell the people how to recognize, is it a Roman theater or is it a Greek theater? And so there isn't any greater treat than going to Masada with Nomi. As she begins to point out, again, the things. And we've had some laughter, too, because sometimes we'll be next to another tour group, and she will turn to me. She said, he doesn't know what he's saying. But she said they don't know, so they're just listening.
Oh, yeah, you just soak it in.
Yes. And but she knows and has a degree in archaeology. And so she will talk about the different differences in the columns and the capitals on the columns, and has really taught our people now who have gone back 2 and 3 times how to recognize that.
Wow. And people learn something new each time, so
Every
you just
time.
want to keep going back. You've done archaeological digs in the past. Talk about those.
Oh,
that
yes.
sounds exciting.
In 1997, in fact, I had my mother with me on that one, and we were able to go, and they said, well, now you can dig around and see what you can find. And one of the ladies just happened to find some. She wasn't even certain what she'd found. She was just happy she found anything. And the guide came over and said, do you know what that is? And she said, no, I'm just happy to find anything. And here it was from the time when Egypt had invaded. Pharaoh from Egypt had invaded and gone through that area, and it was from that period. So it was really exciting.
Wow.
And in fact, that lady is going back on this trip.
Oh,
She and her husband.
My. Well, maybe she can stop in the museum and find the piece that she found.
Yes.
That's just so incredible. Any idea of the value of something like that? That would be priceless, right?
It's priceless. And that's why, and we do tell our people, even when they go to the marketplace and buy certain things, we do have to have them examined. That's one of the values of having Nomi with us, because you are not allowed to take anything out of Israel that is considered an antiquity.
Oh, my, yeah.
But it's still a joy to find something like that.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
And then to realize that we know there has been a Jewish presence in the land, and to find... We know that. We believe the Bible. But to find things and be a part of finding evidence that just substantiates what we already know.
To hold it in your hand, to hold history in your hand, and think of the person who last held that, however many centuries ago, it just would be, I think, a feeling that's indescribable.
Right. And I just completed teaching a class on ancient Hebrew. And so I'm kind of anxious to see some of the people who are in that class who are going on this trip as we then look at some of the manuscripts and scrolls in the museum to be able to now look and read some of those.
Well, now we've got everybody that is joining us right now saying, I want to go. Some will still have this question because there might be someone with some physical challenges, or maybe they're getting up in years, and this is on their bucket list. They really want to get to the Holy Land sometime in this lifetime. Before they pass over, and then everything is revealed to us.
Yes.
But it is a lot of people's goal to get there in their lifetime, but maybe concerned about steps and so forth. Tell us about any accommodations that are made for people who might have any kind of a physical limitation.
Okay. We had a lady that went on one of our tours, and in fact, in the spring of the year, she had had a stroke and was still in a coma. She came out of the coma. Her husband contacted me and said, we would like to go. She really wants to go.
Wow.
And I said, bring her, because she'd come out, but she was somewhat limited and able to walk. I said, come. We will make accommodations. And again, that's one of the delights of having Nomi Palhazi as our guide, because she said, I will do anything to allow someone to be able to see the land I love and the land of the Bible. And so when we landed in Israel, we got into the airport, got on our bus, and Nomi said, we're going to stop and get Norma a wheelchair, and she's going to see everything we see. And she did.
Wow.
She saw everything we saw. The only places she wasn't able to go in was the interior of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, because the steps are so steep and they're narrow. We just couldn't get, some places we actually carried the wheelchair up the steps.
Sure.
She actually even went and was able to see the rabbinical excavation tunnels underneath the Western Wall.
Oh,
that wheelchair only got stuck once, but our men were able to get it up and over. So if they are hesitant, I would say go.
Wow. Okay.
Don't
All
put
right.
it off.
Don't let anything hold you back from
No.
this. What's the cost involved?
It is 32.48 out of Cleveland. And, excuse me, I'm sorry, it's $38.24 out of Cleveland, because now we are going out of Cleveland, which is great.
Yes.
You don't have to get a bus. You don't have to get another flight to New York. And that includes the flight to and from Israel, all the entrance to the sites, breakfast, dinners, the 2 lunches, the guides, and our guides are working on a special deal for us, so even their tips are included in the cost.
Oh my gosh! So full package is $3,800.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow. What are you most looking forward to? We only have less than a minute.
I am looking forward to us being able to fellowship, but also that we can. I will have the opportunity to teach at the location of the Mount of Beatitudes, visiting the upper room where Jesus spent that last night before the crucifixion. We will have a communion service at the Garden Tomb.
Oh my.
And
It's going to be amazing.
Yes.
All right, November 6th through 17th. Get your reservation in by August 1st. In fact, why not do it today, because there are only 8 spaces left. Go to Teacher 418 at trinitybrotherdave.org or call 330-453-2519. Pastor Sharon, thank you so much for joining us on Our Community.
Thank you for having me.